My brothers from the Canadian national team 2000 Gold Cup winning side. We have Paul Stalteri, Jim Brennan, and Martin Nash joining us. Guys, thanks for joining us on this legend show, and we're going to go over this 2000 Gold Cup thing and get your feelings on it. How are you today?
Great. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, my pleasure. You know, guys, when you look at that yesterday, and we saw the celebrations with the national team and how spectacular that was, and they got the drum out, and everybody was singing, and the flags were waving, and all that. And you look back at 2000. I mean, all our games were away. We won at the LA Coliseum, but I was thinking to myself, yeah, it would have been fun to do that, but there was only a couple of family members there and a couple of wives and maybe a dog, and I think that would have been kind of embarrassing, but we didn't really have that. So, you know, how do you guys feel about missing out on that, Paul?
I mean, it was first amazing to see yesterday. Great to be a part of watching that that stadium filled at 30,000 from the anthem at the beginning, having everybody in the stadium singing that to the final whistle and to the celebrations after, led by also with the drum. So it was an amazing thing to be a part of. Fantastic for the team, for the players. So happy for all of them, and to see them achieve what they did and be somewhat a part of that. To see that and be in the stadium was amazing.
I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but I mean, we went into that tournament ranked last. You know, CONCACAF was a different place back then. I mean, it was full of corrupt leaders from top to bottom that we knew about, and it was always an issue for us. But, you know, we got to the end of the group stage, and we were tied with the Koreans, and we needed to go to a coin toss to separate us. Remember that? And CONCACAF wanted to do it privately. Our coach, Holger Osiak, he didn't want any part of that. He's like, no, it's going to be a public coin toss, and he was all over that. Remember that, Jimmy, when we were in the tent there at LA Coliseum waiting for that coin toss?
That's right. Yeah. It was nerve-wracking. And it was funny because, I mean, we were all sitting there going, we're going to get screwed here. Some way or another, they're coming after us, and we're not going into this next round. But, you know, thank God for the bravery of Holger to say, no, if we're going to do this, it's going to be public, and everybody's going to have an eye on this. And fortunately, it went for us, our way. And I just remember us celebrating like we actually won the tournament in that tent. We were all jumping on each other, and you could see CONCACAF just putting their heads down going, oh, my God, how are these guys going to the next round?
Yeah, and then then we had to actually get on a bus, didn't we? And then head back down to San Diego and play Mexico. So we're kind of like, okay, it's, you know, we know it's pro-Mexican crowd. Carlos scores late, catches the Mexicans by surprise. We end up in the golden goal situation that's now not around anymore. I think they had a corner early, if I remember right. We broke out. Martin, you had the ball. I think Stolly was overlapping you. He wanted the ball, probably the best option. And you went for Richard Hastings, diagonal, who is the last guy that you would probably imagine that would score the golden goal.
Yeah, no, it was, I just remember sprinting down the field and hearing Stolly come down my right side, yelling at me, wanting the ball. But for whatever reason, don't know why, but went for Richard Hastings and didn't even give him the greatest ball, but he took a great touch and a great finish, and it became a big dog pile on the end of the pitch. So it was fantastic memories.
Yeah, no kidding. Like, I remember that moment, and I don't think I jumped any higher in my entire life. I'm running down the field, and one thing we knew, being a golden goal, that it was well and truly over. There's no comeback here. We are in the semifinals now, and we're going to head back to Los Angeles to play against Trinidad and Tobago, Jack Warner's team, and we were up against that as well. So, you know, we were wondering what was going to happen. We were fighting. But when did you guys actually, I know what my answer is, but when did you guys actually feel during that tournament that we had a chance actually to win it, Stolly?
Yeah, probably after the Mexico game. You know, I think, like you said, fortunately enough, there was no time for them to put the ball back in the middle and get going again, because who knows what would have happened, but with our luck. But yeah, probably after that game, when you looked at the draw, we might have had a chance. We were on a little bit of obviously a huge high, beating Mexico, but we kind of came down to earth, probably played our worst game against Trinidad, if you remember. I think that wasn't a great performance. And not just here because you're here right now, Stacks, but it probably not for you in goal. We don't win that game. I think that was probably our one of our weakest games of the tournament, to be honest. And really, I think you made some unbelievable saves to keep us in that game. And then obviously after that, you're in the final, and we had nothing to lose because we were already CONCACAF champions, to say the least, because we were playing Colombia. But Yeah, I would say right after the Mexico game is when we had the biggest, probably the biggest belief that we can go on and do something really special there.
How about you, Martin?
Yeah, I mean, I think the funny thing, I think after the coin toss was a funny moment. Because I remember I went down to the tent with a bunch of us. And when we got back to the bus, a few guys hadn't gone down. And they remember coming on, they didn't believe that we had won the coin toss because they thought, absolutely, we're getting screwed here, right? So I think just from that moment, we kind of seemed to get stronger as a group. And I think it's just a little bit of belief. Obviously, Mexico's a tough game, but then it added to it. Once we won that game, I thought, we have a good chance here. And seeing that the teams that were left. So
well, one of the things you touched on there, Martin, was that we did have a good group. I think for 20 years in between 2000 and up to now, I've heard lots of stories about the group not being that tight, and that surprised me because we had the tightest group you could possibly imagine, and obviously that goes a long way in competing. But win, lose or draw, we were tight and always supporting each other, and I think that was a massively important thing that we're seeing with this national team now. Don't you think, Jimmy?
No, I agree 100%. I think that was one of our biggest strengths of just how close we were and how hard on that pitch we would work for one another. If one man got beat, the next one was there to help out. And I think what ended up helping as well, because we had such a good balance, with yourself and Mark Watson and Fenwick and Pesci, and we had older guys, but then we had a lot of younger guys that were coming through that had been together for a large part of their youth national team careers, such as myself and Stalteri and Clarkey, Jason Bent. So there was a lot of us that were coming through, and Robbie Arisadimo. So we had such a good balance, but we already had that core where we trusted one another. But then coming with the older guys as well, it just gelled perfectly for that tournament. And you could really see when we were playing on that pitch just how close we were and what it meant to us to win those games.
I'm going to step back a little bit about the game and this current national team that we're seeing right now. This is a side that hasn't stumbled into the World Cup, and we would have been celebrating probably just as much if they had done that. This is a team that's dominated CONCACAF. Now they're going to be heading to the World Cup. Where do you see this? I mean, where do you see this team going? What are the potentials for this side, even in the World Cup in 22, but maybe even a little bit looking forward to 26? Just exciting times, isn't it, Stolly?
No doubt. I mean, first there'll be big anticipation for the draw. I think that'll have a huge factor in terms of who your opponents are, which kind of an opponent you're going to play. How do you match up against those guys that you're going to play against? Where are you going to fit in the pots? Is it going to be 3 or 4? That's going to have a big part of that as well. So. But I mean, if you look at the team and you look at the ability and the quality they have and the pace and the dynamic ability on all those guys to take players on 1v1, create chances, be dangerous in the attacking third. I mean, they got a lot of weapons. Their depth is there. They've got players that can create goals. They got players that can score goals. If I'm looking at it as an opponent playing against Canada, it's not a team that I'd be wanting to play against in the World Cup. That's for sure.
I agree with you, Stolly. I think we've got such firepower that, if you're those European teams or African teams and you're looking at your group and you've got to play against a CONCACAF team, I don't think many would want to play against Canada. Knowing just how good that this group is and how they went through this qualifying process.
No, guys, we were talking about it today too, and the pace they've got, and then you throw, where Adekubi's how well he's doing on the left, and then you throw Alfonso even maybe in front of him, behind him. Then you've got on the right side with Laria and Buchanan. I mean, the amount of pace and ability out wide, and then the two up top that can score goals from nothing. I mean, it's a very, very dangerous team, and like you said. Craig, this team didn't stumble into anything. This team is, they dominated qualifying from the start to the finish, and there was definitely no surprises in how good they were and where they finished and where they probably will finish in the group.
Martin, what are your thoughts on this current team?
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting to watch. I love watching them play. They can play in many different ways. They can be a possession team. They can be a counter team. They have so many weapons, like the guy said, but. It's what I'm interested to see how they do in the World Cup. I mean, I think they have the ability to get out of their group. Like the guy said, no team will want to play against them. They got so much pace. They got goal scorers. They got a bit of everything. So it's exciting, you know, and at minimum, we look at the age of most of the guys in this group. It's a great opportunity for experience for the next World Cup at worst, but I see them having a good chance of getting out of their group minimum, and who knows.
Guys, I got to thank you. I can't thank you enough, actually, for coming on here. You know, you guys are truly, I love you guys. You know that. And what we achieved was pretty special. And what this team is achieving now is going to take us to another level as well. I'm brilliantly and really happy for you guys to all be involved in coaching within the Canadian system too, and the Canadian Premier League has given that opportunity. MLS has given that opportunity for you guys. I'm glad to see you involved because you absolutely should be. Thanks for joining us here on the Legends Show.